Is a $420 rifle from Academy good for deer hunting? And will it group? Let's find out, shall we? Alright, so first, let me talk about why I bought the gun. I've been shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor for 2 years now, and I thought I've had some fairly decent luck over the last couple of hunting seasons, but here's the problem. It's not always a dead deer, and let me just be honest with you, if you miss a deer, you're not going to take it, okay? But if you hit a deer, and you can't find it for the lack of blood trailing, it's a problem for me. So what I decided to do at the end of this hunting year, I was going to give the 6.5 Creedmoor, and I'm going to try to save as much of this story for later, but I was going to give the 6.5 Creedmoor just one more hunting year, just one more hunting season, just to see how it did. I changed the scope out, and to be honest with you, I still ended up with an unrecovered deer. For most people, that probably wouldn't bother them. To me, that bothers me because here's the deal. What I'm essentially doing is that I'm injuring that animal and not recovering it, which means I'm essentially not able to get the meat that was offered by that animal that was harvested legally with a gun, but I was unable to track it down, go out and find it. So, what was the solution that I thought would be the best for, I don't know, my capabilities? Well, I figured I would go find another budget gun, because I will be honest with you, and just so that you know, this review is a holds bar. I ain't leaving nothing on the table. Like, everything's gonna be laid out right here. So I'm not gonna lie, Academy has sold me some good guns. Academy and Walmart, I know for sure, carry these guns, but they're Savage Axis. If you've been in the gun world long enough, you'll know that Savage Axis is a good gun. It groups well. It's a solid construction. I've never had any kind of like magazine issues. I've never had any kind of misfire like on this particular 30-06 model. Of course, now that you'll see the gun is clear. Never had any issues with the magazine. The only thing about this part is that the bolts, it's a little tough, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. But I had a 6.5 in, like, I had a Savage Axis chambered in 6.5, and here's what I decided to do. I figured I'd go ahead and get another Savage Axis chambered in 30-06. Now, before y'all come after me in the comments, I know, I get it. I used to be that guy that was like, well, a 30-06 is too much and it's overkill for a deer. Look, listen, I know people shooting deer with a 300 Win Mag, okay? Don't come after me. 30-06 more deer in America have been killed with a 30-06 other than any cartridge whatsoever. I will die on that hill. But what does it mean? Okay, this is after taxes and everything at Academy Outdoors. It was $440. So that's with the taxes, but like on the price tag itself, it was $419. So it comes with a lot of questions. What are some good things about this gun? Is it worth a buy? Is it something that a new hunter would probably want to take into the woods? These are all things that I'm willing to answer. The first thing is, let's talk about the gun itself. Here's what's going on with the gun. I changed out the scope. Okay? The reason I changed out the scope is because it comes with a Weaver scope, which, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that scope for a budget scope, but it's the mounts. Okay, I've talked to multiple people. They hate the mounts that come on Savage, like the Weber scope. Like if you get the Savage scope combo, they hate the mounts because here's the deal. These right here, the ones that put on the actual gun rail of the gun, these are put on by Allen wrenches, this little mount right here. But the mount that's on the Weber scope, it's got like a flat head setup. It's got a very, and like I'm literally not exaggerating, the bolt on that thing is about this big. And it only bolts to where it's tightened on the inside. So even if you put Loctite on it, all somebody's got to do is come by with like a butter knife or something and just go in there and just unscrew it, no problem. It knocks off the scope. You got to go through this whole horsepower again. I had that happen to me with my 6.5. I didn't change out the Weber scopes. Guess what? I went through a whole hunting season. At the beginning of this year, I was sighting in my gun, the 6.5 that I had that was chambered in Savage that had a Weber scope on it. Guess what I figured out? That screw on that Weber set had come loose, knocking my gun off and unable to group. Since then, I have learned my lesson. Okay, that's personal experience. All right, the bolt, it leaves a little bit to be desired. I'll show you what I'm talking about. The bolt going down is fine. It's the brake coming up. Watch. If I was to break it coming up, I feel like it's going to hit that scope. It barely misses the scope by literally about that much room. Like it just barely misses it. So look, when I'm having to chamber this gun, and you'll see it when I shoot it later, when I'm having to chamber it, I'm having to grab the scope like this right here with my thumb to pull it up so I don't hit the scope. Now, a lot of people, that wouldn't be a big issue because you're only going to fire this gun a few times, but in my line of work, I fire this gun a lot. It's going to be fired a lot. Matter of fact, got this in a snowstorm literally this week. Got it in a snowstorm. 18 degrees. I put a whole box of shells in it just to see how it shot. So I know that the 3 that I've currently got in the magazine are going to group well. Okay, so I've talked about the scope. I changed it out. It's just a Bushnell 3x9x40. I mean, it's nothing to write at home about, but it's better than the scope mounts I was talking about. Okay, obviously I'm going to be using a Caldwell lead sled to be able to sight this thing in. Here is the food that I'm going to be putting into it. Okay, so to start us off with, our first course is going to be 150 grain Remington core lock tipped. Okay, they are pointed, not rounded, pointed soft point. And my gun relatively like this. I'll show y'all what I'm talking about here in a little while when I start grouping, but I was impressed. However, I wanted to try these 165s along with it, so I've got 3 rounds of 150 and I've got a whole box of 165. I want to see which one of these groups the best out of this Savage, but here's the thing. This is probably not where I'm going to stop testing these bullets. I'm probably going to keep testing more bullets, more bullet brands, more bullet weights to see which gun, or which bullet rather, goes the best with this particular rifle setup or this copy of the Savage Axis, okay? That's just what you're supposed to do. You get a new gun, you can't just throw whatever you want to in there and expect it to be right on to begin with. It may not like those bullets. If it don't like those bullets, change them out with something else, okay? So, stock-wise, synthetic, okay? It's relatively, like, you can hear it. It's hollow here. It's got a nice little butt pad on it. It's almost to the borderline of sticky. Like when you touch it, it's almost borderline sticky. Like, as y'all notice, I've got facial hair. So when I was putting it in like the lead sled earlier, y'all can't see this part, but at the part that butts up, look here, right here. When I was doing it earlier this week, my facial hair would get caught in between this sticky part and this pad on this Caldwell, and it would pull my beard hairs out. It hurt, but that's beside the point. Now, the barrel itself, it's a little front heavy, okay? Because this is synthetic stock. So, look, you get what you pay for when it comes to like the balance of the gun itself, but heavy barrel. And I know that it probably doesn't actually say heavy barrel, but compared to a synthetic stock, it is definitely forward heavy. Like if you were to actually like shoulder this rifle, and you're holding most of the rifle weight with your left hand if you're left-handed or right-handed. So yeah, that's something to think about. So, usability, huntability, it's a solid gun. You can't say anything more than it's a solid one. But But I tell you what, let me put you guys down. I will set y'all up to where y'all are looking at the target, and I'm gonna get all this set up to where we can start doing a few 3-shot groups. My plan, one 3-shot group of 150, mostly because I have 3 shots left of 150 grain. The other one, I'm gonna do 2 3-shot groups with the 165 grain, and I'm gonna see which one it likes the most, and hopefully after I get this thing sighted in, I'll be able to give y'all an honest opinion about whether this gun is worth the money or not, and will I feel comfortable taking a deer at 100 yards or 200 yards, or just feel comfortable taking it hunting, period. I will answer those questions after we sight the gun. Well, actually, after we group the gun. All right, guys, got the eye protection. Yeah, I got eye protection on my forehead. So I got y'all set up down there. I hope you like your view. I hope I ain't yelling too bad because I've got ear pro in. All right, so what I'm gonna do, first group that I'm gonna do is gonna be 3 shots of the 150 grain Remington core lock. I'm gonna be aiming for the 8 above the bullseye. Okay, I'm gonna have to do 3-shot groups on one target. So I'm gonna do the 8 above the bullseye, and then we're gonna go from there. Load her up, son. All right, 2 3-shot groups of the 165 grain. Let me get the stuff loaded up real quick. Dead center bullseye for this one. One more 3-shot group. I'm gonna go back to the inch. I wanna go, let's see. Up's fine, it's left and right's the problem. So far, I'm decently happy with the size of the group though. Not anything to write home about, but for a $419 gun, so far not too bad. Also taking my time in between shots, try to let this barrel cool down a little bit. All right, going hot. All right, bottom 9. All right, let's go see how we did. From what I can tell, they're okay groups for hunting. But I wouldn't necessarily call it, oh my God, the new tack shooter. But you guys have already seen it. Y'all have the view. I ain't quite seen it yet, so I can't give you 100% confidence what I thought I saw. But maybe 165 grain core lock may not be the kicker. may not be. But let me get out there real quick. All right, here's a close-up view. The 150s aren't bad. Like if I were to measure that, it'd be almost an inch. This right here, the 165s, they kind of open a little bit more. These two, this got me really excited, guys, I'm not gonna lie. But as you can tell, it's about the same as the other one, just a little wider than my thumb for both of these groups. See how there's a space on this side, space on this side, space on that side, space on this side. Barely any space. So, as it stands right now, I'm leaning toward 150 core lock because that's not bad, and that'll take a deer 100%, so that ain't too bad at all. Okay, so upon further review, you will see that there are more bullet holes on this target. I cut the cameras off so I could just focus a little bit more on the trigger squeezes. And here's the results. Pretty much identical to what I got on camera. Okay, let's start up here towards the top. This one right here is my 150 grain group. Now I found the other target with the 150 grain group. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tape measure and measure exactly to the center of the hole, to the widest center of the hole. When I do that, I come out to about 1 1/8 group on that one, on 150 grain core lock Remington. Here's a target from the other day that I was shooting in the snow. As you can see here, that's another group of the 150 grainers. I'm going to measure about halfway to this circle to the other one, and I come to exactly 1 inch group at 100 yards. All right, let's fast forward to 165. All right, here's probably the widest group of the 165. Let's see what we're doing. 165 is coming in the ballpark of a 2 inch group there. All right, we got 2 groups here. Let's see which one we got out of which one. This one right here comes out to the tune of about 1.5 inches. This one's a little better. This one comes to the tune of about 1 3/8 inches. I'll give it 1 3/8 inches, guys. And this one I'll give, this last one right here, as you can see, I'll give about, I can justify 1 5/8 inches. So, as it stands right now, it really is like in those Remington core lock 150 grainers. So, what's my overall conclusion? I don't think I found the right bullet for it yet. It fires fantastically. I have a lead sled, so I don't really have to think much about the recoil. However, it does say online that the recoil was going to run you about 20 felt foot-pounds of energy. So, like somebody slugging you in the shoulder pretty much if you don't have a lead sled. But overall, I'm pretty impressed. The scope that I've got on it, this little Bushnell, didn't necessarily come with it, but it is holding 0 so far. A little impressed with that. Seems like the scope mounts and everything are still solid. There's been no malfunctions with the gun whatsoever. The Caldwell gun sled's doing great. I need to change the table because y'all noticed sometime in the point in the video, y'all fell over twice. So I need to build a new table to where it's steadier. I can get a steadier shot. Some of those shot groups may be the fact that this table is not as steady as it needs to be. If we had like a picnic table or something like that, and we could set up on the picnic table and it not move, and we could hold exactly where we wanted to go, those groups would probably get a little tighter, okay? But at right now, 100 yards, the winner so far from what I've tested is 150 grain core lock pointed soft points from Remington Arms. By the way, thank you for staying this long into the video. Also, thank you to 601 Outdoor Sense for also sponsoring this video as well. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you Barry for following us along these last few videos. Thank you for the guys who've come in through Barry's suggestion. We want to thank y'all, and y'all just sit down and have a nice little chat amongst yourselves about what y'all thought about the video. And if you are a new viewer, we hope that we have earned your subscription through an entertaining video, but I hope at least an honest, real world video. No holds bar, nothing held back. So if you were to ask me in the comments, Thomas, what did you think of the 30-06? It's fun to shoot. I'm getting about an inch group with 150 core lock Remington. That's not bad, okay? A 1-inch group at 100 yards. A lot of people would be just absolutely thrilled with that, but I think I can beat it. However, overall, as the gun's functionality, the gun's great. I mean, the kick, right now it's in a gun sled. I fired it outside the gun sled. The kick's really not all that bad. Of course, this is coming from a guy who shoots all the time, and I'm not necessarily small, so take that opinion with as you will. But overall, my thoughts on the Savage Axis, just overall, especially chambered in the 30-06, good gun, good gun. Not a lot to write home about visually. I might paint this. That's a good idea. Y'all stay tuned for that. But anyway, overall, I'm pretty impressed. It's a decent group right out of the box. I mean, right out of the box, first brand of ammunition that I bought, and I'm getting inch groups at 100 yards. I don't have much room to complain. That's pretty good for the amount of money that you spend for this whole setup. Now, that did come with a scope setup, but I changed it out. But overall, $440, I'm impressed. Stick around for our next video. It is coming out next Sunday at 10 o'clock. Videos come out Sundays at 10 o'clock. Make sure to stay tuned for that. We are going to be hitting the woods again. It's been a long time coming, but guess what? There's still some hunting seasons available, one of which are squirrel and rabbit. So stay tuned in the next video. You guys are probably going to see us go after some little varmints, whether that be squirrel or whether that be rabbit. But either way, we will see you guys in the next video. We hope you've earned your subscription. See y'all. We gone. Oh yeah, and we have merch now in the channel description.